Hi, this is MJ from ReadGreatLiterature.com. Thanks for joining us for part two of our screencast series, Poems, Hear the Rhythm, Traditional Rhythm and Meter. Once you recognize that words and lines of poems are made up of distinct units of sound called syllables, and that some syllables are accented, that is, pronounced harder, and some are unaccented, you are ready to learn to identify the basic units of meter that make up traditional poetry written in English. These units are called feet. If you missed part one of our screencast series and don't know much about syllables and accents, you might check that out before continuing. Traditional poetry uses rhyme and meter. Each foot, or poetic foot, is defined by a particular number of syllables and a particular pattern of accents. Lines of traditional poetry are constructed by stringing several of the same type of foot together to create a poetic line that moves forward with a consistent beat or pattern. In this screencast, let's look at the two patterns that are basic to duple meter, two-syllable feet. The iamb. The most common poetic foot to occur in poetry written in English is the iamb. The iamb sounds like ta-da. An example iambic word is confused. The iamb consists of two syllables, the first unaccented and the second accented. It's a good idea to pause right here to note that there will always be some variations in the meter of a poem, usually, we hope, carefully controlled by the poet. So to label a meter, what we're looking for is the dominant or most consistent type of metrical foot being used throughout the whole poem. We'll come back to that idea in a future screencast. Stopping by Woods in a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost is iambic. See if you can hear the consistent pattern of unstressed syllable followed by stressed syllable, followed by unstressed, stressed, and so on. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. Blank verse means that each line of a poem has 5 iambs and the lines do not rhyme. Most of Shakespeare's plays are written in blank verse. Can you detect the iambs in these famous lines? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon. And that, of course, is from Romeo and Juliet. The trochee. The trochee sounds like dada. For example, the word winter is trochaic. This foot is the exact opposite of the iamb. It consists of two syllables, the first accented and the second unaccented. One of the most famous poems written in trochaic meter is Blake's Tiger, Tiger. Let's listen to a few lines from that poem. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? This poem is based on trochaic meter, which has a strong, insistent drumbeat sound rather than the gentler flowing sound of iambic meter. I hope you could hear the difference between whose woods these are, I think I know, and tiger, tiger, burning bright. Blake varies the metrical pattern somewhat in these two stanzas. For instance, the fourth line of the stanza is more like iambic meter. In every line, Blake chooses not to complete the trochaic foot, but ends the line with a strong accent, the first syllable of the trochee, without completing it with the last unaccented syllable. The effect is very strong, insistent, and startling. Poets often start their iambic poems with a trochee. Or they may begin the first line of a new stanza or section of the poem with the trochee, and then they continue the lines in iambic meter. The trochee sounds a strong, definite note as the first sound in a poem. For instance, in this first line from a well-known Shakespeare sonnet, the first metrical foot is a trochee, even though Shakespeare writes the rest of the poem in iambic meter. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So that's it for duple feet. Next in the series, we'll talk about triple feet and also metrical substitution. I hope you'll join us for part 3 and also join us on readgreatliterature.com.